Friday, the final day of the week. These are the voyages of the program Unsportsmanlike Conduct. Its ongoing mission: to explore strange new movies, to seek out new bits and new edifications, to boldly go where no radio program has gone before. Well, Kent's Movie Club. It's El Kent's Movie Club. El Kent's Movie Club. It's El Kent's Movie Club. As we have established, it has been a day for technology here on this radio station. With that said, I'm going to say, hello, Kent. Can you hear us?
I can indeed hear you.
Praise Jesus. Thank you. It's the first time anything's worked today. How's your week been?
My week's been good. I'm using up the old use it or lose it vacation at the end of the fiscal year.
Yeah.
Which is September 30th or whatever. And they're like, you have 4 days of vacation time that you have to use or it's gone. And I went, see ya.
This is Lee Enterprises. Is this Lee Enterprises?
It indeed is.
Good luck.
You've had that experience.
Good luck.
I was wondering where that was going, Michael.
Good luck with that.
Yep, it's Lee Enterprises. Don't get me fired.
No, I don't want to get in this.
So, Kate, is this day 1 or is this day 4 or is this day 2 or 3?
This is day 4. This is day 4.
Nice.
And then I have, I believe, 2 more something else that I have to use by the end of the month, like floating days, whatever those are.
Oh, we love floating holidays.
Floaties are great.
Yeah.
Well, the movie this week is Super Troopers. Now, when Nick picked this last week, he was very concerned that it was extremely problematic.
I was not.
And he was going to be very, uncomfortable watching this.
Wow.
You did set it up. You teased
No,
it.
that's
that
how
was Happer.
That was Josh and Happer saying
Yeah,
that,
they
John. It
were the
wasn't
ones
Nick.
saying
Well,
that.
I believe it. I believe
Wow.
Nick felt this way.
No, the concern that Nick had was that Michael would be here for this and that Michael would poo-poo it. Who knew that John would also be poo-pooing
I haven't
this movie?
poo-pooed anything
The two
yet.
old guys who hate to laugh hate this movie. Shocking.
John likes
Again,
laughter.
I've been watching comedies before his mother was born, and I like a lot of funny movies. This movie just sucks. I'm sorry. It's bad.
Nick, you want to set up the movie?
I
Two
do.
laughs.
So Super Troopers is about a group of highway patrol officers in some northeastern state. I don't remember the one.
Vermont.
Vermont. Thank you. Vermont doesn't exist.
Everybody.
Minutes ago.
And they always get into antics. They don't take their job as seriously as they probably should. And then they end up stumbling upon a conspiracy involving the local police department. And then it just goes from there. They stumble their way into solving the mystery.
And there you go.
Super Troopers.
And there you go.
Now, I know Happer and Josh were both like, oh, Nick's probably going to think this movie's problematic.
I am surprised that you're not, because based off of some of the stuff you said in the past.
So I did go into this movie expecting there to be jokes that didn't age well, because I grew up in the 2000s. Like, I've seen these movies.
Right,
I grew up watching these movies. I
Yeah.
loved these movies
Right.
growing up.
Yeah.
But I didn't see this one. It was quoted a lot in my high school, so I always knew the quotes, but I never knew the context.
Yep.
This movie, for the time it came out in, is extremely tame. It holds up really well. They don't even use the R word that a lot of movies love using and
Yeah.
abusing.
Kind of the way they treat the woman is a little problematic.
Right, that was problematic, but it
Wow, I didn't
wasn't.
think Michael would say problematic before Nick did in this segment.
I am very
agree.
supportive of women. I've changed.
But I think, I think
Did that start today, Michael?
Yeah, I was going to say, when did this happen?
No,
After
no,
you
I
watched
called.
the movie.
I called. You can ask. I called Stacy about 7 years ago. Seriously, called her and said, "Look, I apologize for anything that I may have ever done to make you uncomfortable during doing that show. I really did, because I really started thinking about it, and she loved the stuff that we did. So,
And did Stacy say,
who is this?
Michael, bark twice if you're in Milwaukee?
Is someone
No,
holding a gun to
seriously.
your head?
I did that.
Yeah.
No, but I think this movie holds up really well, even all the jokes. I think the worst offenders were how they treated the woman, and the worst part was the racially ambiguous cop that they kept saying he was a different race of. But those jokes weren't even in bad taste. It was just kind of
Just bad.
it was
Bad.
Well, Kent, I'm curious because this movie came out in 2001, but it is pre 9/11. So
Yeah.
it was like early in 2001. And I only mention that because, well, we did just pass the anniversary. But also, I wonder if there was anything, if things like this in cinema, if anything changed because of 9/11 in terms of comedy.
Boy, that's a good question. I can't really think of anything right off the top of my head, but also on the other hand, there was for a while, this whole make fun of the Middle Eastern, Arabic, all of that post probably mid 2000s that's kind of gone away. So I'm not sure how 9/11 would work into this.
Okay.
But 9/11 changed the news.
It changed the news
We
dramatically.
used to go from having a lot of fun in the morning, and they immediately went to investigative stories, and it changed that a lot. I don't know if it changed movies that I can think of.
Ken, do you miss this era of R-rated comedies? Because like this is kind of near the beginning of a stretch. What some people would probably say it started with like American Pie, or There's Something About Mary, and it went through like the Judd Apatow movies. Like this was in the middle of a stretch that was really, really fun.
And that went away, but you're starting to see it come back a little bit more now, right? The more R-rated comedy, R-rated movie with sex in it as opposed to violence. That's swinging back a little bit, I would think. I think about movies like Poor Things from last year.
Yeah,
Jennifer Lawrence movie we watched.
that was
Yeah.
good. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's dating the guy, the boy.
Yeah, we enjoyed that movie.
Yep.
So go ahead.
So, Kent, I'm curious how, it's been 24 years or 23 years now. How does this hit today versus how you saw it in 2001?
Not a hell of a lot different, to be honest. I dug around and it wasn't online because our online system doesn't start until 2006 for whatever reason. I mean, there's a way I can find it, but it's way too much work. But I did happen to have my old clips here and looked, and I gave this thing 2.5 out of 5, which is, and said scattershot comedy. Some of it's funny, talked about the background of this is a comedy troupe called Broken Lizard that had been together for multiple years before this movie. It was formed at Dartmouth College. And this whole thing's all self-contained. All right, one of you broadcast guys, say his last name.
I got nothing for you.
Chandraskar?
Okay.
Chandraskar? That'd be my guess.
Yeah, he directed this, and the script, as if you couldn't tell by watching, was largely a bunch of skits that were tacked together, some of which are improvised, some of which were scripted, and just enough of a plot line to have a plot, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's all it was. And I think what I wrote was, it's funny enough if that's what you want to go for, but it's really stupid, right? And you won't remember it 3 days later.
You know what, Kent? Like, what's funny about it to me is I think going to the way it was written and acted and performed, like, I think the first half of the movie is much better than the second half, because the first half is just the bits. It's the meow thing. It's them going out and doing stuff. When like an actual plot shows up, I think it actually loses a lot of its steam, except for, in my opinion, the funniest scene in the movie is when Farva is allowed to go back on the road, and then they go to the restaurant.
Yep.
And he's a liter of cola. That whole it's for a cop, and he's like, "Are you going to spit in it?" Like, that whole scene, I think, is hysterical. But otherwise, I think most of the funny stuff, the first 5-10 minutes, that whole bit with the guy and one guy's eating all the pot. I think that scene is hysterical, but I think that the first half very good, and then it gets into a plot, and it's like it's fine. It's not as funny, in my opinion, as the first half.
I would agree with that, but to add to the previous answer, this triggered me. The one thing I did think was this whole thing is set up around something that wouldn't happen today.
A
You're
weed
not
bust?
gonna have the giant pot bust.
Yeah, seriously.
Legal everywhere.
Yeah, that's
that might be the part that's aged the worst.
That's
about
what
this
Linda
movie.
Carter said. She goes, "Why are we here for weed?"
Yeah, even in 01.
Yeah.
And you had never seen this.
I have never seen this, but
and neither had I.
it was a similar thing.
I had never seen it.
And Michael had never
It was
seen
a similar thing you said with you in Office Space, where you've heard all the quotes and everything, but I'd never seen them in context, and I was worried that maybe would have spoiled the movie for me after seeing him in context. But honestly, it just made it way more funny. I think seeing the quotes that I've heard in context, because they're all very contextual quotes. Like, they don't sound like much if you haven't seen the movie, but seeing how they are in the movie and like, you boys like Mexico, like that's one of the quotes that people would say all the time. I really like this movie, and I hate that I took so long to see it, but it was never streaming anywhere that I saw. It was only on Comedy Central, and I wasn't going to watch this on Comedy Central.
So, John, what do you think? Because Stibbs and I used to say all the time, John, you should watch Super Troopers.
Yes,
it's a
you
movie
did.
that
And
is
I went into this very open minded. You know,
Yeah.
I'm unlike Michael. I can handle, stupid people being stupid.
Yeah, so I'm
those
guessing
are
you
ti-
didn't like it as much, which kind of surprises me.
I was surprised how much I didn't like it.
Interesting.
Now, unlike Nick, because the whole Office Space thing, the thing that ruined Office Space for me was I heard all the bits.
Mhm.
I would have. I was surprised by how few of the bit. The leader of Cola Line
Mm-hmm.
is the only thing
Not
I
the
ever
Snosberries?
remember hearing.
We
Really?
had that. We
Not
used to
even
have that.
Snosberries?
Tastes
We
like
had that.
snosberries.
We had that drop.
I see. I did not know that was from this movie.
We had that drop. I didn't know it was either until
Yeah.
I heard it in the movie.
Yeah, there were a couple. Michael, you said it earlier this week. There were multiple clips that we would air on Movie Magic.
Yeah, and I didn't know where they came from.
Sure,
You're like, you are freaking out.
but
Man.
But I was surprised. So this was not an Office Space issue for me, where it just didn't connect. I didn't find anything funny. I
thought there were 3 scenes that were funny. Okay, so the cup, when they pulls the thing off the cup and the water comes out, I laughed at that.
okay.
There's a scene where he says, "I am going to pistol whip the next one of you who say that word."
Shenanigans.
And then you guys, what was that restaurant? She goes, "I thought that was kind of
That
funny."
is so funny.
I thought that was funny. And then there's a scene where the couple's bouncing on the bed.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And for
Stop
some
jumping
reason,
I
on the
only like
bed.
that
For some
scene
reason,
because of who was bouncing on
it
the
made
bed.
me laugh when he's like the mustache ride thing. He's made me laugh. I don't know why,
Okay.
but that was the 3 times I laughed.
Yeah, I was surprised. Because I honestly thought, based on what you and Stibbs had said, that I was going to like this because it was really stupid. But I don't know what it was. I never really laughed at anything. And I got to the point there, I had to hit pause for a second because I had to go let the dog in. And I saw there were still like 52 minutes left. I'm like,
That's
there's
the worst.
still 52
That's
minutes
the worst
left.
when you do
Dang,
that.
it's not even a long movie either, John.
Hour
It was like
40,
you're watching
right?
a 2.5
Hour
hour
40.
movie.
Littering
Hour
hand.
40
Bring
minutes into it.
Yeah, it did not.
I know how that is.
It did not connect with me at all.
I
Why do
wonder
you think
what
that
it
is, John? Because
Yeah.
I have no
really
idea.
No, I've known you for over a decade. I know your comedic sensibilities. I'm like genuinely stunned that you didn't find any of it funny.
A lot of it's not funny though. A lot of it's not.
But
I mean,
Micah, you say that about a lot of stuff that
but
John
I love
and I find funny.
you named 3 movies I really like. I really like the Mary movie. I like that one. There's a lot of funny parts in there. I've seen every one of Judd Apatow movies. They're too long because they put too many scenes,
They
but I
are
still
very
think they're
long.
funny.
Do you think it's because the Apatow movies tend to lean a bit more raunchy when this is just a bit more goofy?
Yeah,
You
this
think
is
that's what it
Maybe,
is?
but they
Stupid.
both have
Yeah,
that.
this
you
isn't
know?
raunchy. This is
Yeah,
not
it's
a
not
raunchy
raunchy at all.
No,
I just-
not at
It just
all.
doesn't. There's a lot part like the whole scene where he's eating the weed at the beginning. I think that was funny at all.
No.
And the meow thing was annoying.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out what
Then I realized when he was counting what they had said. Yeah,
Right.
He hit the record was 10. He had to get to 10.
Yeah.
But it didn't. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know why. I really don't. I was surprised. I was really surprised because I went into this extremely open-minded thing. Oh, this will be interesting, and it surprised me how little
So-
I actually laughed.
There does seem to be an obvious age gap here because Josh, you like this movie, right?
Yeah, but Kent.
Well, I was
Kent
30
liked
years
it
old when this thing
when-
came out. I mean,
Kent liked it enough. Kent
Yeah.
likes it more than John
He
does.
said 2.5. That's
2.5 out of 5. I felt like
not
was
great.
a low score.
Yeah, it's not great.
Well, but that's your, if you're in school, that's a C. That's
Fair.
average.
But
know?
Michael and
in other
John,
words, better than this week's college football slate according to the grades.
what I'm trying to say
Sad.
is Michael and John not liking this movie, but me and you and Happer and I guess Odson liking this movie. Like there's something with our age group in there because everybody I knew growing up loves this movie.
And Otson and I have a lot in common in terms of our movie watching.
Mm.
So I've noticed that, and most
Yeah,
things I
Josh
agree
has
with
good
him.
movie takes.
Right.
Yeah,
So I
agree
just
with him on a lot of stuff.
I guess I'm now curious into what that is. It seems to be some kind of age disconnect thing.
But I've seen other stuff by them too, and I didn't think it
Have
was
you
funny.
seen Beer Fest?
Yeah,
Michael?
I've seen a few of the things they've done. That group, that lizard thing, and I didn't think they were that funny either.
Oh, I love Beer
maybe
Fest.
maybe because they feel a little bit Canadian to me,
Whoa.
and I don't necessarily like Canadian comedy. It's true. I just don't. I never
Oh,
did.
You didn't like Red Green?
Don't like Canadian comedy. I don't know what red green is. But I don't like. I
Nathan
don't like
Fielder,
a lot of
you're out on
Canadian
Nathan
comedy.
Fielder.
Even SCTV, I wasn't a huge fan of it when I was a kid. And I watched it all the
I
time.
loved SEC.
I don't know if I've ever heard anyone, Michael, say I don't like Canadian humor. That is
It's true. There's a lot of Canadian.
Sorry.
I don't like a lot of British humor either. I always thought that a lot of that stuff was
overrated.
yeah. So
Hmm.
I made a list of the 5 movies that I hated the most that I saw the whole thing.
Okay.
All right,
Okay.
it's my 5. Your Highness. Did
Never
you see
saw
that,
it.
Kent?
Oh, I think I saw that, Michael, and I think I hated it too.
It's one. It's
Who was
the,
in that movie?
Anna Pack.
Yes, I've seen that movie.
Anna
Horrible
Paquin, right?
movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's who plays Princess Amidala?
Natalie Portman.
Natalie Portman's in it.
yes.
That's who's in it.
Yes. I remember
Um,
that movie.
The Flintstones Viva Rock Vegas.
Oh, ow,
Which-
ow.
I went to see after I had knee surgery, and I got driven there, and I couldn't leave the theater. And it was the only movie playing in
I'm
the theater.
trapped.
I was trapped. I had to watch the whole thing. Balls of Fury. You seen
Oh,
that?
that was like a dodgeball. No, was that a
No,
table
that was
tennis?
they were skaters. Remember, it's Will Ferrell as like a skater.
Will Ferrell as
That's not
like-
Balls of
Blades
Fury.
of Fury.
Blades of Fury. Sorry,
No, Blades of Glory.
Blades of Glory. Oh,
That's
I liked
movie.
that movie.
Blades of
God,
Glory is
I hated
awesome.
that. I hated that movie. The Room. Yeah, you've seen it, Kent. It's
Yeah, it won,
designed to be
like,
bad.
It won Oscar. Oh,
No,
my
no,
bad,
no,
my
not
bad.
that room.
Yeah, the other room.
Not that one. No,
Not that room. Not that
This
one.
one wasn't. No.
Yeah, I was like, wait, that one won awards.
Go ahead, Kent.
No, it just that one, as you say, was intentionally bad,
Yeah, it was bad on purpose.
and they
And then-
really succeeded.
Yeah, I saw 1,000 Words too. I saw it in the theater.
That's the other one?
Yeah,
Which one
1,000
was the one, Michael?
1,000 Words.
I don't know that one.
It's an Eddie Murphy movie. Who I love Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
And so I saw a lot of his movies, and there was a stretch there where it was horrible. 1,000 Words. The premise of the movie is that he can't to stay alive. He has 1,000 words, and if he reaches the end of his 1,000 words used, he's going to die.
That sounds stupid.
And
Well,
so
Let's say you mentioned The Room. Was The Room designed to be bad, or was
Yeah,
Tommy
it's
Wiseau just a bad director?
designed to be bad.
Okay.
Yeah, and in the middle they really started getting into it. There's a making of it that's actually pretty good. The
Is there?
making of it's actually much better than the movie.
That Eddie
By the way, that list is incomplete because it does not have Vanilla Sky on it, but that's another story.
Never saw that one. By the way, sales director Stacy, who was the one-time producer Michael was just talking about her, says, I love this movie, but I may have participated in the weed back when I watched it.
Hey, if I was high, I guarantee I'd like this movie more.
Oh, sure.
There's no doubt in my mind. If I was high, I would have liked this movie more. There's no doubt.
Joel says, how can John laugh for hours at Bum Fardo but not enjoy Super Troopers?
There was no bum fardo humor.
Littering Ant? Littering Ant?
The thing I think maybe, I'm guessing here.
Were
I'm
you in a
just
bad
guessing.
mood?
No, I was in a fine mood.
Hmm.
I was actually looking forward. I got some work done that I wanted to get. I just dropped the Jays podcast. I was like, oh man, now I can kick back and sit and watch this movie. And I was in fine spirits. And then I'm like,
And then you watched 20 minutes of it and wanted to die.
it was about 30 minutes in. I thought maybe it's just going to start slow, or maybe the first scene with the dope smokers in the car. Yeah, it'll get better. I think maybe I was expecting a little more raunchy.
Mm.
And see,
That's
and
the
that's what
only
I think
thing
it
I
is.
can think of.
I think you guys, because all the movies that you listed earlier that you said you liked, Michael.
I didn't listen. He listened.
Well,
Josh listened.
but like
Yeah.
Something About Mary and a bunch of those Apatow movies,
There's
those are all
more.
raunchy.
There's
American.
more. Like I love Caddyshack. It's one of my favorite top 5
Caddyshack's
movies.
kind of raunchy.
I don't think of it as being raunchy. The stuff that he does isn't really raunchy.
No.
The stuff that
No, but
Dangerfield
there
does,
are-
that's the funny parts of it.
There are raunchy things in Caddyshack.
Yeah.
Like,
Stripes is raunchy. That's
Yeah.
definitely
Stripes
that's
is more
definitely
raunchy.
raunchy.
so I wonder if it comes down to just humor level, because I love sketch comedies.
By the way, this
I love sketch comedies.
Brasky Man or whatever, I really do like the Simon Pegg stuff. So the Hot Fuzz,
All the
At the
Edgar
End of the
Wright-
World.
all the Edgar
I
Wright
do.
stuff.
I think all those are funny. I watched all of those. And by the way, the second best clips of anything on TikTok are the Letterkenny things.
I love
The
Letterkenny.
clips. I've never seen the whole show, but the
Oh
clips
my god, it's so
on
good.
TikTok are hilarious. So yeah.
Well, we got a split decision, Kent. And you're kind of in the middle. in terms
I've
of-
never had a movie
exactly.
that was divided so evenly, but we've also never had a group this large,
That's
you know,
true.
for a regular thing before.